ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Carter Family Fold. My name is Rita Forrester, and I'll be your host for the evening. And I'm mighty glad to see everybody out tonight to see Wyatt, Ellis, and his Bluegrass band. And how many are first-time visitors not been to the fold before? Quite a few hands. We're trying to capture some of the places that you're visiting from. When I call out that place, if you're from there, holler at me. Kentucky, thank y'all for coming. California, welcome to you guys. And Pennsylvania, them too. Thank you all for coming. Did I miss any states? Ohio. Jersey. And now you're saying them too fast. I got Ohio.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I miss anybody else? South Carolina. Any others or visitors from different states? I know we have one foreign visitor. I don't know about any more, but we have one from England. We're visitors from England. And we do have a tradition of giving away a hat. It's courtesy of Virginia Tourism. So you have traveled the furthest distance to come see us tonight. You wear that hat back to England and tell them not only is Virginia for lovers, it is especially for music lovers and about the good music you heard in Virginia. Thank you for coming all that way to see us. And we want to thank our sponsors, Bryant Label Company, the Bristol Fort Yard Marriott, WETS-FM, and Scott County Telecom. And I want you all to give a nice hand to the people you see working all the booths, the parking, the museums, for our volunteers. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. And coming up on June 21st, we have another special show, and that's Appalachia Rising. It'll feature Jim Lauderdale, Trey Hensley and his Bluegrass band, and Hog Slop, an old-time band. So come on out and see them. And then our festival, we move back to July 26th because of the big ball game they're having at the racetrack. And that will feature Ronnie Williams and Friends, the Empty Bottle String Band, and the Dan Tominski Band. And we have a food truck outside. The Kickin' Chicken Shack, I think is what it says, is outside if you want to go visit the food truck. Next week we'll have White Top Mountain Band. If you didn't get a chance to see our cabin and museum, they're next door. Those will reopen at intermission, and both are historic landmarks. You need to go in and check them out. And we have a third historic landmark, and I think our pastor, I don't know where she's at, but she's worked all evening. She's a Carter, and we're now, I think, 8th generation of Carter descendants that are members of Mount Vernon Church. It's a mile from here. If you're here and you want to go to church tomorrow, you can go to Mount Vernon at 10 a.m. There's no dress code, and they'd be glad to have you as a visitor. So, and you can see the graves and some of the historic sites around Hilton's. And I'm going to ask the director of the Crooked Road, Tyler Hughes, and my friend John Kilgore, who's the head of Scott County Economic Development. They have an announcement they want to make about some signage they're going to put up here in the county. So guys, you come up and tell them all about it.
Well, how about a big round of applause for Rita Forrester? Continuing capping the show here. Hopefully you're aware, but the Carter Family Fold is one of the major venues and institutions located along the Crooked Road, Virginia's Heritage Music Trail. We're a 330-mile-long driving trail that connects over 40 affiliated spots throughout Southwest Virginia that are connected to old-time bluegrass and early country music history. And the Crooked Road, we've been promoting Southwest Virginia as a world-class destination for music lovers for over 20 years. And really, the Crooked Road started right here in this very room. One of the very first meetings of the Crooked Road with its stakeholders happened on the dance floor here with Rita and her mother Jeanette, cooking supper for everybody and getting stakeholders together from across the region to talk about creating the Crooked Road. And look how far we've come. For 20 years, we've been promoting this region, and we look forward to doing it a whole lot more. And we've got a special presentation tonight Last year was not only the 20th anniversary, but the 50th anniversary of the Carter Family Fold of hosting performances here in Hilton's, Virginia. You can clap for that. So tonight we are thrilled to be here to present a new VDOT grade roadside to be placed here in Hilton's. This is one of our most iconic emblems of the Crooked Road. If you've been driving down Route 58, I'm sure you've seen these, and we're happy to get some replaced and present a new one just to reaffirm our commitment to promoting Southwest Virginia and places like the Carter Family Fold as a destination for music and country music history lovers. So we're presenting this to the county. John, would you like to say anything about how important the Carter Fold is to Scott County and to tourism?
The Carter Fold, of course, is a major asset for Scott County, and we appreciate the sign, and we'll display this on next to 58. And we encourage you all to go back and tell a friend and tell them to come visit the Carter Fold, because we need to keep this place alive. 50 years is a long time, but we want to make it to 100.
Thank you so much, John. And just one more quick note that the best way to explore the Crooked Road, last week we made a big announcement and brought the Crooked Road a huge step into the future. We've released our first mobile app. So if you're looking to travel the Crooked Road, whether you're a local or you're a visitor here in Southwest Virginia, you can head over to the App Store or the Google Play Store and search up the Crooked Road, download the app. You can plan out your trip, see your itinerary, see the distance between venues, look for lodging and dining, and you can also stamp a digital passport. You'll be able to scan QR codes like here at the Carter Fold for Crooked Road prizes like shirts and stickers. So please check that out. Head over to the crookedroadva.com or check us out on social media for all the venues and all of the events taking part across the region. Thank you all so much, and we hope you enjoy your time here at the Carter Fold.
Thank you, John and Tyler. They helped us so much last year with the 50th anniversary. That was a hectic year, but it was a year that we could be very proud of. When my mom started music in the little store building next door, she never dreamed that this building would be built or that we'd still be here 50 years later. She was just trying to honor a promise she made to her father that she would see that his music lived on, and I think she did that and more. And of course she passed in '06, and we're now down to me and one cousin or two back here in the kitchen working, but we're still here and we're still trying to keep everything going. And I don't know how many of you have gotten to see Wyatt Ellis and his Bluegrass band. I have not seen them live, but I watched them rehearse, and if you all don't know it yet, you are in for a real treat. And let's give them a warm, warm Carter Family Fold welcome to the stage. Wyatt Ellis and the Bluegrass band.
Y'all ready for some bluegrass? Here we go. my Bluegrass band, and for the next couple hours, we're going to do our best to entertain you with a good old traditional set of Bluegrass music. Right now, we're going to feature all the members of the band a little bit on this next one, and I'll go ahead and introduce them. Starting over here on the 6-string guitar, singing the tenor. He's from not too far away in Greenville, Tennessee. Make welcome East Tennessee's own Alex Leach. On the bass, from the state of North Carolina, but she now lives in Sevierville, Tennessee, Sarah Griffin. Back here on the banjo, he's from Williamsburg, Kentucky. Make him welcome Brady Waller. And over on the fiddle, he's from Kentucky as well. He wins all sorts of contests, and he's one of the best out there. Give a big hand for Noah Goble. Well, we're going to break it down and do a little Bill Monroe song here. It's called The True Life Blues. 1, 2, 3. song that we turned into a bluegrass song, and I think you're gonna like it. We recorded it and we kind of have it lying low, and y'all are gonna enjoy it. It's a little Heartbreak Highway. Our bass player back here who helped me out by singing tenor on that last song. Already introduced her, but I'll do it again. It's Sarah Griffin. She's going to step up and sing y'all a Sierra Farrell song called Give It Time.
He was moving on and he's been most of his nights gone.
we have some special guests here tonight. Karen and Derek Newsom, and you know, they had some pretty special family back in the day, and a guy named Cuddles Newsom, you know, some of you may have heard of him, but he wrote a song that we just cut and recorded, and it's doing good for us. It's called I Hear Choo Choo Comin', but I first heard the Stanley Brothers do it before I went back and found this awesome version. But we're going to do our best to do that song right now tonight and send it out to them. Here's a little Choo Choo Comin'.
Folks, how about it one more time for the one and the very only Mr. Wyatt Ellis?
Thank y'all so much. Well, here comes a little original song that I wrote on a bus trip about this time last year with a couple good buddies of mine, and it's the first time this band really got together, and the first original song that we ever brought to the group. Hope y'all enjoy it. It's called I Believe I'll Go.
Traveling down that long road, and I
over here on the guitar loops. He's gonna sing you a real lonesome song that he wrote with another good buddy of his. And I think it's one of the best bluegrass songs that's ever been written. And he's gonna do it. He's gonna try to do us some justice with that high notes he's singing. You want to tell him a little bit about it?
Yeah, I guess I've actually sung this song here at the Carter Fold a few different times with our good friend Mr. Ralph Stanley II, and we had a lot of good times here at the Carter Fold, and it's always good to get to come back and see everybody and get to stand up here with this fine young man right here, Mr. Wyatt Ellis. So he's going to help me out on it, and we're going to do it for you now. As I've always said, this song kicks off mighty lonesome and gets a little bit more mournful as it goes along, and especially the way I sing it, by the end of it, it's plumb pitiful. So let's try it.
Speaking of Ellis singing at Lonesome, me and him are going to break it down into a little duet here. And we're going to do a little Smoky Mountain, East Tennessee style bluegrass duet. This is a murder ballad, and it's staged right in the hills from where we come from, pretty much. And it's called The Hills of Brown County. Hope y'all enjoy it. We'll try it.
There's where I have roamed for many years.
y'all. I think it's the time in the show where we try to catch them, as we say. And y'all are gonna hear us try, and who knows if we can get them or not today. We're gonna do our best. I don't need to tell you the title of this one. All I know is it's gonna be real fast.
All right, keep up. All right.
Saved up for this one song right here, because this is where we really cut the fiddler loose. And you know, don't hurt yourself on this one, because it's a good one. But make welcome again Noah Goble from Kentucky. He's gonna fiddle you a little bit of Sally Good. we're going to get a special guest up here. We're going to get Noah's sister, Lily, up, and she's going to sing you an old classic Bill Monroe song, I think, and it may go back further than that, but that's at least where I know it from. And Lily Goebel, everybody, and she's going to sing you a little Cry, Cry, Darling. This one's just a little bit lonesome. This is where we really let old Swamp Weeds loose to graze. You're going to tear it up on the guitar and sing a little harmony vocal on this one. And I recorded it with a super special secret guest who lives up this way and picks on the guitar. But anyway, we're going to give it to y'all right now. It's called Country Boy Rock and Roll.
Rock
y'all pay close attention to the words on this one, and because it's lonesome, and you'll like it. We wrote it down in a Holiday Inn Express in Florida, if that tells you anything about how, as Alex would say, plumb pitiful it actually is.
We wrote it especially for all of them tonight.
Oh yeah. Here's a little song called Alone Goodbye. Just about a week ago, my love and me were bound to go. Loaded up for a walk here in the pine. I've always been a mountain man. I know these hills like Mom had. We met our vows and said we would never part. The fascination filled her eyes as the sun sank in the sky. The sun up on the mountain high. This will be our home tonight. I told her by the firelight. I don't know why I felt uneasy that starless night. A heavy bluster of the wind chills my soul from deep within, searching for my darling deep here in the pines. Like a lonesome morning dove, I'm calling for the one I love. I'll close my eyes and hear her whisper alone goodbye. I woke late in the night. I thought I heard my darling's cry off in the distance, far down the mountainside. Was it the wind telling lies, or could my sweetheart be alive? I'll just keep searching as the days pass me by. A heavy bluster of the wind chills my soul from deep within, searching for my darling deep here in the pine. Like a lonesome morning dove, I'm calling for the one I love. I'll close my eyes and hear her whisper alone goodbye. I'll close my eyes and hear her whisper alone goodbye. Well, we're gonna do y'all one more song before we take a quick break. I eat me some of that fried chicken, then we come back out, pick some more bluegrass music. We're gonna leave you with this one. It's a tune that I wrote, a good buddy of mine, Christopher Henry, and we've been playing it for quite a while now. See you here in a little while. It's called White's Creek.
prize with your admission ticket. And I've got little Miss Jenny Burt's up here to help me. She's my best friend's granddaughter. Okay, this is on your admission ticket, it's pink, 717281, 717281, if you have that, you want it, hat. We'll draw a second admission ticket, it's homemade here, that big, oh, no, we're going to go. We're going to do two on the 50/50, one for the envelope, the 50/50 drawing, and then one for this fair that is Betty called today, and she's giving it away just to help her fold, and she makes them all the time. We appreciate it. Okay, this is for our split the pot envelope, and that's 0084760. 0084760. You have that, see Miss Edna. And we'll draw one more to you out of that white ticket batch. This is for the little bear here under the podium. Okay, this is 0085831. 0085831. If you've got that, you won you a teddy bear. Okay, give Miss Jenny a real nice hand for helping. And give Betty a nice hand for making a nice bear for us. Are y'all ready to hear some more good bluegrass music? We're ready to bring it on for you, so welcome them back to the stage. Give them a warm welcome. Wyatt, Ellis, and his bluegrass band.
up next, and we're going to send this one out to Karen and Russ Fig. Karen's dad was actually an amazing mandolin player. His name was Ken Powers, and he had a long lineage of old-time music in his family. And we're going to do our best to do a rendition of one of his tunes that we found a fragment of, and we finished it up, and this will be our first time playing it anywhere. And like I say, we're going to send this out to Karen and Russ. It doesn't have a title yet, but y'all can get the feel, and hey, maybe you can suggest one. Here we go. That turned out to be a pretty good tune. Well, he's raring to go back on the banjo. I introduced him once, but he's going to try to tear this one up right here, just like old Ralph did, maybe not, but it's going to be good. Kick it off, Greg. next one up, and everybody on this stage is just about going to get a chance at this one, except for Sarah back there on the bass, and she's going to be holding it all together. This is a brand new song I wrote a couple weeks ago with a good buddy of mine, Bass and By. We think it's turned out pretty well. You have to let us know what you think. It's called Smoky Mountain Blue. Bluegrass classic.
All right, this one's called Why Don't You Tell Me So?
song about? Well, it's time we do an old Carter family song now. And we're going to let Sarah back here sing you a song that Sarah Carter sang back in the day. It's called Keep on the Sunside.
The sunny side.
is a classic. Here comes a little black mountain rat. Well, we're going to break it down a little bit here and do an old classic country song. I think if I was to introduce somebody to country music, I would use one of two songs, and it'd probably be either this one or Long Black Limousine. And we're going to do this one right now. This is old school. Called I Never Go Around Mirrors.
And here's your one called Heart and Soul.
Well, we got 3 more numbers for y'all now. Don't worry, they'll take up plenty of time. This next one we're going to do is a tune that was written by one of my biggest mentors, Christopher Henry, and it's one of his best. Here's a song called The West Dakota Road.
Thank you.
song here, and this one has influenced a lot of people, and there's been so many different versions of it, all the way from the original Carter Family version up to Ralph Stanley and the French Mountain Boys, on to us today, I guess. This is the first time we've ever tried this one all together, especially on stage. Here's one called Will You Miss Me When I'm Gone? Well, we're going to leave you with one more song. You know, if you know it, feel free to holler it out. Do whatever you need to, and we'll see y'all a little bit later on down the road. Yeah, you can even dance on this one, you know, if you're not already all danced out, you know. But this one's called traveling the highway home, and that's just what we're going to do, and see you later down the road. I forgot to mention, it's been a fun time.
Top Mountain Band, an old-time band. Come on out and visit us again. Safely going home, good night, and God bless all of you.